Hi, welcome back to Neighborhood House Milwaukee's Nature Time, where each video we learn about something cool in nature or that you can find on the planet. My name is Miss Nicole, and I'm an educator here at Neighborhood House. I'm so glad you could join me again today. Before we get started, let's sing the Nature Time song. If you don't know it, that's okay. You can always clap along. Do you know it's nature time, it's nature time, it's nature time. Do you know it's nature time on this beautiful morning? Yay! We have been exploring some wonders of winter and why many of our animal friends seem to disappear when it starts to get cold outside. Last time we talked about hibernation, where animals like groundhogs and bears will take a very long nap to get through the cold winter. This week we'll be learning about another thing some animals do so they can survive the winter. We will be talking about migration. Migration is when an animal will leave one area and travel to a different area. Many animals migrate. Some fly, some swim, and some will even walk. Animals migrate for several reasons. One is because lots of animals prefer to be in the warmth than the cold. And in the wintertime, it can get very cold here in Wisconsin. It's kind of like when somebody takes a vacation and they travel somewhere warm so they don't have to deal with the cold. Another reason is because of food. In the wintertime, lots of our plants will lose their leaves or even get buried under the snow. If you are a herbivore or an animal that likes to eat plants, then this is not good for you. So they travel somewhere warm where the plants are always alive. This way, they get food all year long. When those places start to get a little bit too hot in the spring and summertime, they'll come back up here where it's warm but not too warm. The first migrating animal I'm sure you've seen flying in the sky. You might have even heard their honks while they're flying over you. I'm talking about the Canadian goose. These birds can be found all over Wisconsin. You might have seen them in your local park in the warmer months. They love to live in grassy areas for two reasons. One is that if they're in a wide open area, they can see any threats that might be around them. And two, because they love to eat grass. Between September and November, the geese will fly from places like Canada all the way down to Texas. You can hear their honks when they're flying over you. You may have noticed that they travel in a very special shape. It's kind of like the shape of the letter V. They do this so that all the geese can see the goose in front of them. This is helpful so they don't crash into each other while they're flying. While geese are very big birds, the next bird I'll talk about is only about the size of the palm of my hand. I'm talking about the ruby-throated hummingbird. These birds may be little, but they're very big in color. Aren't they beautiful? Hummingbirds spend their summers in Wisconsin, having and raising their babies. At the end of the summer, they'll eat lots of food so they have lots of energy for their journey. When it starts to get cold in the fall, they'll start their trip all the way down to South America, which is a whole different country. These birds love to drink nectar from flowers. Have you heard of that word before? Nectar is a sugary sweet liquid that flowers produce. You can help these birds by putting up hummingbird feeders in the springtime. Fill them with nectar and they'll be very grateful for the drink after their long journey. Our last animal is not a bird at all. It's actually an insect. You might have seen these bright orange butterflies floating from flower to flower in the summer. Do you know what butterfly I'm talking about? I'm talking about the monarch butterfly. Just like hummingbirds, these animals will spend their summer in Wisconsin laying their eggs. But when it starts to get cold here, they will fly up to 3,000 miles all the way down to Mexico. Sometimes monarchs will stop to rest in trees. The places they stop are called stopover sites. There can be hundreds of monarchs resting in just one tree in these stopover sites. They will start traveling back up between the months of March and May. You can expect to see monarch butterflies back here in Wisconsin in June. In the summertime, after these butterflies make their long trip back to Wisconsin, you can help them by planting a very special plant. This plant is called a milkweed plant. This is the only plant that monarch caterpillars can eat. Not only do they eat it, but this is also the plant that monarch butterflies will lay their eggs on. The caterpillars will hatch out of their eggs and live on one monarch plant their whole life. If you plant this plant in your yard or garden, you will help monarch butterflies survive, but you will also get a chance to see them all summer long. Let's review some of the things we learned today. Do you remember what shape geese fly in? The shape of the letter V, so that they don't crash into each other while they're flying. What do hummingbirds like to eat? Nectar, which is the sugary sweet liquid that can be found inside of flowers. Do you remember what plant you can plant in your yard or garden to help monarch butterflies? The milkweed plant. Thank you so much for joining me again. Before we go, let's sing the Nature Time song. If you don't know it, you can always clap along. Thank you for the nature time, the nature time, the nature time. Thank you for the nature time on this beautiful morning. Yay! See you next time.